guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope we're all doing okay. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be reflecting on what I've kind of learned as I turn 22. So depending on when this video comes out, I might have already turned 22. Today, as I'm recording, it's Wednesday the 15th of March and my birthday is Friday the 17th. So I'm hopefully get this out on the Thursday or maybe be on my birthday. I'll actually be going to Barcelona for my birthday on the Friday, but I'll get some content already out in preparation for that. So I think this will really help like a lot of people. It's going to be quite a long video I'm going to make today, but there's kind of a lot that I feel like I've learned, especially in the last couple of years or so. And I'm going to kind of like break it down into different areas. So I'm going to talk about like relationships, finances, time, career, health, physical, mentally. So I think, I'm just going to break it down in between the different things. So this will really help a lot of people. If you're a bit younger than me, ideally, it will really help you. And the stuff that I've learned, you'll be able to learn this a lot quicker and like surpass me by the time you turn 22, or even people who are older than me, maybe who've not had the same lessons that I've had, because might make you don't have to go through the same lessons that I've experienced, which is kind of behind this channel really. But yeah, enough of me like waffling about this type of thing. I'm gonna get onto it now. So I'm gonna start off with relationships. So like I say, we've got family, friends, and like intimate relationships. So I'll start off with family. So I feel like I've really seen the people overall when it comes to all three of these areas just evolve of who I kind of spend my time with so much over the last couple of years. I've just really, when it comes to family, really realised how important it is to spend time with kind of my immediate, like close family, like my mum, my sister, and even my dad, who I don't have the best relationship with. When I've kind of explained this in a few videos too. So like I've said, a lot of you watching this will probably be aware of some of the experiences that I've kind of had in my life. When it's come to my family, I had my mum and dad both very ill at the same time towards the end of 2022. My dad was very ill in hospital on life support for a couple of months, and my mum got diagnosed with cancer. So it was a very, very difficult time, and it still very much is. My mum's still really ill, and my dad is a lot better than he was, which is really good, but still very difficult. But at the time, probably the most difficult and challenging time of my life, and something you kind of have to grow, and you learn a lot in that period of time. But you really do realise like how much this kind of is, because you're not going to have you don't have another set of parents, like your close family, like your mum, your dad, your siblings. Is like you're not going to replace them. They're just like so close to you, like in any way possible, and you really do kind of underestimate their importance and kind of the effect when it comes to something seriously bad happening to them, of how it kind of can make you feel and how powerful of an impact that can have on your life. And so ever since then, with my mum, because obviously we are not too sure how long she even has left. Obviously we pray and we hope as long as possible, but we just don't know. So we've been really trying to do as much as we possibly can. Anything she wants to do when it comes to trips or just going out anywhere, anything that she ever wants to do, we'll always make sure that we fulfill that. And you just really realise like how lucky you kind of are if you have never kind of experienced like a scare within your family when it comes to like their health or anything like that. And obviously I'm not trying to, I don't want you to play me a violin or anything like that, but like to kind of have both of them like seriously ill, like not even knowing if they'd make it, at the age of 21, my sister being 19, is like a crazy life experience that literally no one else can really relate to. And it's really like made me appreciate how just having family initially, how lucky I am to even have anyone, because I know a lot of people grow up without any family, and a lot of people end up, maybe their families, they get a bit older and they don't spend much time with them, and you always hear this a lot, like, oh, I wish I just spent more time with them and I didn't tell them how I felt and stuff. But I feel like since this has happened, it's really like made me realise the importance of this and like letting them know, especially my mum, like how I feel. At Christmas, I like wrote her a letter of gratitude. I did the same to my sister, just to let them know, because you do really realise when stuff like this happens, like how I don't even know how to say it, but how crazy life can be and how things can change by like the click of her fingers. It really is that scary. So I'll go on to friends now, and I've recently become a lot more kind of cutthroat when it comes to who I'm kind of spending my time with. I will just not be friends with you if you're like a negative person, you've got bad morals, bad values, you lack ambition. If you are one of any of those type of things, then I'm not going to be friends with you. And I've had to cut a lot of people off because they tick at least one of those boxes. There's a lot of people out there that do, and it's harder than you think, I think, to really find people who are really genuine, who like want the best for you. They want to grow together. They're really good people. They've got that ambition about them. Yeah, especially I think in the UK, it makes it even harder than it may be in some other places across the world. But yeah, like I'm always looking. I want more friends. I always want to be that guy who has like a lot of friends, and I like meeting new people. But I think my friends have really developed who I'm spend my time with a lot. I think they're all kind of like ambitious young men. They've got good values, good morals. And I've made a few videos on friends before. I made the "They're Not Your Friends" video, and "They'll Outgrow You," which some people are like, they kind of cope and they don't like these type of videos because they've kind of had the same friends throughout their life. Maybe you have been one of those people, but once you really start to grow, you all start to see that your friends do change and develop over time, and the people who you want to spend time with are not the same. Like at the time, they probably were the people I wanted to spend time with, but who I am, I've grown, and I don't want to do the same things anymore. I don't want to have people who are in like the party scene taking drugs, like not really got any ambition to kind of go anywhere in their life, like really reach their full potential. And that's just the case with a lot of young people out there at the moment. They just don't have that. And for me, I'm not gonna spend my time with you if I feel like I'm not gonna get where I want to be. You got to be selfish too. At the end of the day, like, don't be friends with someone just because like you've been just staying friends with them because they've been friends, so to speak, for your whole life. Like, you got to get to where you want to be. You have to do this, and honestly, you feel so much better when you have people like who you're on the same wavelength with. Because I've always really felt like I just felt so out of place. I'd just be there like like AFK, just not really saying much because I just couldn't. I just felt like people were just talking so much rubbish all the time, and I couldn't relate to them at all. Maybe you felt the same when you've been with your friends and you're just like, they're just talking about like drinking, going to the pub, or like some video off TikTok, and you're just there like, oh yeah, right, okay. Like, you just don't really, you want to talk about business, you want to talk about going to the gym, women, I don't know, whatever it may be for you, but they're the type of things I'd like want to talk about. And I'm like a different person. I feel like so different when I'm like, people say this, like, oh, you've got so much energy and you don't stop talking. Yeah, when I'm something that I'm interested about and passionate about and I want to learn more about, then yeah, I am. But if you're just talking about like rubbish, that I'm just not interested in that, like small talk, just rubbish. I want to talk big things, big plans, and a lot of people really struggle with that. So yeah, I think your friends, you have to be prepared. If you're younger or even older, you have to prepare and accept that your friends are going to change. Like, we're human beings, we're meant to evolve at the end of the day. We're not meant to stay at the same level and just have the same thing over and over again. It's not meant to be that way anyway. So you should be happy with this because it means you've grown as a person too. But be very mindful of who your friends are, your environment, because that old saying, you are a sum of the 5 closest surroundings, and they're probably going to be your friends, especially if you're a bit younger. At least 2, 3 of them are probably going to be your closest surroundings. So you have to be very mindful of this, guys, and it does have a big impact on your life and trajectory and where you'll go. So yeah, I hope that's kind of been useful. So on to like intimate relationships. So for me, it's probably something I've struggled with in my journey, kind of really knowing what I want. Especially over the last 2-3 months or so, I've really kind of battled with that. Obviously, I've mentioned a few times that men and women, I feel, are definitely on different timelines, whether you kind of want to admit it or not. Is the science is out there. So I've kind of been that guy who's been like, oh, well, I want to wait a bit longer because I know like the quality of woman I can get is going to be a bit better. And maybe you watching this kind of know this a bit. I made videos on this too. And I've thought, oh, maybe I'll just like play it, just like focus on like growing this business, etc., other things, like leveling myself up, becoming the best version of myself, and then when I get to like 30 plus, then I'll find someone, I'll get the best possible woman I can get. But I've really like felt that this is not making me happy. It's not really fulfilling, and I've changed a lot more to the mindset of like having someone there to like grow. And I think that's like really beautiful to have someone, when you see like those kind of people who are like childhood sweethearts, they grow up in school and they've kind of, that's all they've ever known. Obviously a lot of people may say like, oh yeah, but you don't know what else is out there, you're just comfortable. And yeah, I definitely think that can be true, but I definitely think there is like a lot of purity in that, and it can really work. And the statistics behind like arranged marriages are so much better than people who were like get to actually choose. They like, I learned to actually love each other, whereas like a lot of typical modern day marriages just end in divorce anyway, and a lot of people don't want to get married, and I've definitely been under that impression for a long time. More because of like financial like reasons for like men and stuff, compared to like not being with someone, because I've always thought I've always kind of wanted to be with someone and like start a family, all of that. That's never been really a question. I've always thought that's what I want to do. But I'm really like just sick of kind of, I've made videos on like dating too, which I'm sure a lot of you will have seen. I'm just like kind of sick of how that is, particularly where I live, like in the UK, the US, the West. I just don't get it, and I've always like a lot of more awareness has been made from like people like Tate and Sneeko, stuff like that. How like the West is finished, and it is. I do believe that, and just like the modern day dynamics is just, I just don't like it at all. It doesn't like sit well at all with my morals and values at all. And I just don't get it. Like I just don't understand why girls like what they do, like how like toxic things are. It's like seen as attractive by like when they like don't text you back, don't give you any attention. That's just not me. I'm just not that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Like I've tried it and it just doesn't feel right at all. But to kind of be successful in the dating world in like the UK, that's the way you have to be. So it's very difficult, and that's a big reason why I kind of want to leave the UK and go to somewhere where it's a lot more pure and peaceful, and it's a lot more about like religion, and yeah, like anywhere kind of just away from here is, I'm really like considering where I want to be, to meet kind of women who would be a lot more like that, compared to how I feel they are. Obviously I'm not saying this is all women, because I've met a lot of women too that are like pure and they're not interested in that type of thing. But yeah, it's very difficult. So yeah, I think that's it probably is the biggest thing I've kind of struggled with when it comes to relationships. Like I feel like my friends and family is like, I'm pretty happy with how things are in that. Obviously you can always improve, and I always look to improve. But when it comes to intimate relationship, deciding kind of what I want, I think I'm definitely switched more to the side of like being with one person and kind of building that. And I've kind of seen that in like other people. One of my friends too has been in a long-term relationships, and I think learning more about that, yeah, it's something that I definitely think makes a lot more, makes you a lot more happier, and I think it's successful. And if you can have that and build something together, it's really special and nice to have. Instead of like this like soul destroying like degeneracy of just sleeping around. It's just, I just don't understand why people like enjoy that, and it's not really been ever me, and I've never really thought about it, even though all my friends and stuff have kind of done that and lived that kind of lifestyle. I've just always questioned it, and I just, not me at all. And I think it's only really going to get worse around here. That's why I kind of say like I want to leave. But anyway, that's enough on like relationships. I wouldn't, hopefully like that you maybe relate to that. Maybe some people don't. I don't know, but I think if you're kind of watching already this far, you're into this video, you're probably kind of like interested, have the same mindset as me. So maybe it'll kind of help you in kind of deciding like what you want to get out of a relationship. Because obviously everyone wants different things, but I just think like having that purity and something that you can kind of build special with like a woman or a man is really, really nice to have. And yeah, it's really like not seen as like a positive thing even that much anymore. Like a lot of people don't even want it. But anyway, we're going to go on to finances. So for me, I've really learned that money is just like an illusion at the end of the day. And it's crazy like how much people are willing to sacrifice like their time and freedom just for money. Like for me, I would never do that. I realise there's so much more to life than money. I would never take any like deals or sponsorships that I just do not believe in or anything like that. Like for me, I'm not where I want to be financially, but I don't think I need that much money to like live the life I want to live. I just want to be free to kind of like travel the world, be where I want to be, and help you guys really, and kind of spread the message and help people. I'm not into materialism at all. I don't really care like about designer clothes or the cars, the fancy watches and anything like that. It just doesn't excite me at all. Like I used to be a lot more into that when I was a child and 16, 17. I think that's pretty standard, the environments you're in, and you want to be socially accepted and all of this stuff. But yeah, I've learned that like lifestyle inflation, that's a massive thing. And I think that's a big reason why people, it doesn't really matter how much money they earn or they have in their bank. They always want the new thing, the latest whatever it may be. And it's going to kind of just like correlate. And it doesn't really, like if you're a guy who's got good financial literacy, I think that's a word, and that like know how to use money and spend it on things that's actually going to like improve their life, make you happy and stuff, then you will get a lot more further than the person who's just buying like all this materialistic possessions, etc., that doesn't even make you happy anyway. Say you're earning like £1,000 a month, and maybe you don't really need that much. Maybe you're like living at home at the moment, so maybe you pay a bit of rent, a bit of food, fuel. Maybe it's like £300 a month you spend, and then you earn £1,000. Well, you've got £700. What's the word? Disposable income. Say there's a guy who's earning 10k a month, but he's got like a car on finance. He's buying all his designer clothes. He's going out clubbing and stuff. He's got whatever it may be, and he's got bills £9,500. Well, he's only got £500 disposable, so you're actually better off because of the lifestyle inflation. And do you think this guy is even happier? He's probably less happy actually, because he's got all the stress of like paying all these bills on time and all these materialistic possessions, which the pleasure becomes less and less each time he buys these things. So he's probably actually less happier. His finances are worse, and he's financial illiterate anyway. So when this guy who's earning less money actually ends up earning more money, he knows how to spend the money. He knows he's done it before. Had no money, and he's not really bothered about that type of thing. I'm kind of describing like how I am, and hopefully this is helping you. If you can be that guy who doesn't need to spend that much money, and when it comes to your time, you earn a lot more money. Because think about it. Say if you're earning £1,000, £2,000 a month now, if you earned 10,000, you would probably want to spend a lot more money on whatever it may be. That is something you have to consider, and you have to really improve your literacy when it comes to this and know what do you actually need to spend. Like, obviously, I think it's good to spend money on like experiences and if whatever makes you happy, etc., etc. But yeah, I really think a lot of people just waste so much money on things they don't need. I think it was Tristan Tate that said spend 50% of your money like you're gonna live the next 50 days, and 50% of it like you're gonna live the next 50 years. So obviously that's meaning like 50% over the 50 years you'd save a lot of it, invest it, etc. 50% on you're gonna live the next 50 days, so you just spend it all, like spend half of it on like experiences and maybe family, just pleasurable stuff. And I really like that. I think that's really important to consider for a lot of people, because at the end of the day we all never know when it is going to be over. And this moves on quite well to the next topic I want to talk about, which is time. So it's something I've really learned to value highly, and I know a lot of people just don't value time as much as they should. Time is a finite currency that we all have, and like any wealthy person knows how important time is. Time is worth way more than money. And when I say a wealthy person, I don't mean the guy with the biggest bank account. I mean the guy who's got the health, he's got the relationships, he's got the freedom. That is wealth, in my opinion, and it should be. Hopefully for you, it's wealth too. I don't see wealth as just having all the money, but he's got to work a job for the rest of his life. Like that's not wealthy. You're still like a slave. You're not living the life you want to live, really. Or even if you have to do it to a certain age, you want to have like your health, like be in good health so you can live for as long as possible. And you want to have relationships there, whether it be intimate relationship, your friends, your family. You want all of that. That is wealthy, in my opinion. And a lot of people just focus when they think of wealth. I bet when I say wealth to you, you probably the first thing you think of is money, and that's natural. It would be for me too. But now I've really developed and like understand what it is. Like, it's all good having all the money in the world, but if you're gonna die when you're 30, 40 because you've not looked after your health, say you've been working so much, like 80 hours a week to get all this money so you can retire a bit early, well, you're so stressed out you have a heart attack or something. What is all that money? What was the point? What was the point? There was no point, was there? So yeah, I think when you got to use your time extremely wisely. Do not end up just wasting your time like being a degenerate, chasing women, chasing materialism, chasing money. Like I've said, spend it building the rest of your life, chasing your goals, wherever it is you want to be. I remember a good quote. It was, "You'll be surprised what you can achieve in a year, but you'll overestimate what you can achieve in a month." And this had an issue there with my card on the camera. But as I was saying, you will be so surprised about what you can achieve in a year. You probably will overestimate what you can achieve in a month, as I did when like creating this channel. And some of my goals were probably. I always think it's good to set like high standards and have big goals. I always really push for that. Um, but yeah, it's quite hard sometimes if you're kind of starting from a low position to kind of a month is like not a long time. Even 3 months, it's not very long. But over a year, things start to compound, the snowball effect, and things start to become a lot easier. So you will probably underestimate what you can achieve in a year, but overestimate what you can achieve in a month, few months. So that's very important. I think you should bear that in mind. When it comes to a year, don't try and always think big, and even for your a few month goals, make sure they are kind of like somewhat unrealistic, but you can still believe in them, if you get what I'm saying, because it's always good to have a goal that's bigger than what you currently believe, because you're a lot likely to get a lot closer to that goal. Say if it's earning 10,000 a month, than setting a goal of 3,000. Say if you meet that, but say if you set the goal in 10,000 and you achieve 8,000, well, you've achieved over 100% more than you would have by setting that smaller goal of 3K. If you see what I mean, guys. Um, so yeah, I've really noticed that that's a bit different to kind of what I'm saying about time. It feels crazy that I am turning 22 now. Obviously, I still feel relatively young, but I feel there's more responsibility on my shoulders to kind of deliver. Um, but you have to remember that you do have your whole life ahead of you. And anything worthwhile, I've said in multiple videos, it takes time, guys. You're never too old. You're never too young to start. It's all about what's in here, your mindset, what you believe, and how bad do you want it. You've got to want it. Like, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I want to start this, I want to be a millionaire, but I'm not very motivated. So there'll be those guys that are just there and they will never achieve anything because they don't want it enough. And I hope you're not one of them. I really hope you're not one of those guys. It's definitely something you can develop, because I was one of those guys too. Um, and I've got multiple videos that you can just check across my channel that will help you with like mindset, productivity, and if you want to work one on one with me, there's a link below to that. I'm gonna go on to career now. So as a lot of you know, if you've watched this far in the video, you probably do watch a lot of my videos and you're a big fan of mine. So yeah, I really appreciate that. So you probably know that I did drop out of uni in January after debating that decision for quite a while. I did get quite a bit of backlash for this, people not believing me, and even my mum saying that I didn't have her blessing to drop out of uni, which was very, very difficult, not very nice to hear at all. But I knew I wanted more from life. I knew I wanted to be like a YouTuber. I knew I wanted to share my message. I knew it was self improvement that I loved, that I had been on my own journey, and I wanted to help as many people out there on their own journey too. Um, and for me, there just wasn't another option. And I want you guys to not settle for something that's not going to fulfill you. Fulfillment is so key. And I was doing a degree that just wasn't fulfilling at all. And going back to like degrees and stuff, just please don't go if you're debating going to uni, or maybe you're at uni now and it's not what you want to do, either drop out or don't go. Like, please don't. It's such a waste of time. Like, you don't understand, like, your time and your money, the debt. It's just, you'll get worse by living there. Your mind will be fucked. You'll be living a degenerate life. You just don't want that at all, guys. I know what it's like. um so if you need to go to uni, by all means, you're going to study and you're not going to do all that shit like drinking, partying, drugs, all of that shit that everyone else does, then good, do it. I really wish you the best, and that's a good decision if you know what you want to do and you need that degree to do it. But otherwise, please don't go to uni. It's a waste of time, and I wish I had someone to tell me this when I was 3, 4 years younger, because I didn't, and I just did what everyone else did and what society said was right, and I didn't know where I wanted to be. Um, so you really got to, like, if you're a bit young, if you don't really know what you want to do, which I know a lot of people don't, younger than me, even older than me, a lot older than me too. You have to take some time, really. Just, I think the best thing to do if you're like young, or you just don't really know what you want to do, just get like a part-time job where you can kind of work whenever you need to, preferably something that's like 0 hours, so you're not tied down to anything. But even if it's just set hours that you can stick to, and just take some time to really like journal. I think that's important. Meditate on what is kind of your calling, what feels really important to you at this moment in time. You have to bear in mind that what you want will change over time. And what you want to do now, like me doing this YouTube, I know I'm not going to want to do this forever. Like, I know I will. There will come a time when I've fulfilled this purpose, this chapter in my life, and I will move on to something new. Um, and maybe You think the job you do now is what you're going to do forever. Maybe, possibly. But we're meant to evolve, like I've said earlier on in this video, and I'm pretty certain for nearly everyone, they're not meant to do the same thing for the whole of their life. So it's really important that you do bear this in mind, and I think fulfillment has to come before anything. Like if there's a something that is not going to motivate you to get out of bed in the morning, it's just not worth it, in my opinion. I don't care how much money they're offering you; it's just not worth it. I hear a lot of people say that, oh, I'll do this job, it's getting paid, I'll get paid like 60 grand a year, and then 3 years, 4 years, I'll get a raise, and then in 5, 10 years, I'll be out of it. I can do whatever I want. But it's not that simple, is it? Everyone would do that. It'll be just one thing after another, a bit more money, I'll stay in it a bit longer, I get comfortable, the life's not that bad. You don't have the same drive and ambition to go start a business or whatever it is you said you were going to do when you're 20. So I definitely don't advise to go down this route. Obviously, I'm only young, guys. I'm just turning 22, but I feel my advice is really helpful to even people that are older than me, because I've seen my mum work a job her whole life that she doesn't want to do. Like I've seen it so many times. People in my family, I've really witnessed like people do stuff that they just don't want to do, and see how it makes them feel, and it's just not worth it at all. I decided to drop out of uni because I wanted to have that pressure on my shoulders to make sure I deliver on my dreams. It's all or nothing for me. If I don't make it in YouTube and what I want to do, then I don't have that real estate degree that I could have had if I just stuck at it for a few more months. I don't have that, and I don't want it. I honestly don't want it at all. I don't want that 40, 60K a year job, fucking corporate job, where I'm getting some bullshit, some boss trying to tell me what to do and saying I need to be here and have to wear this uniform and I can't say this, I can't do that. I just don't, honestly. I don't want to do it. I don't care. You could pay me 200, 300K a year. I wouldn't do it. It's not fulfilling for me. I fucking commuting to work every day, no freedom, 4 weeks of holiday, yeah, yay, great. Honestly, I would prefer to just, if it all just when everything got taken away, I had nothing. This didn't work out. I would prefer to just go somewhere like Thailand or somewhere where it's cheap cost of living and the weather's nice, it's peaceful, and just work in a bar or something. I honestly would much prefer to do that than have like a job that's stressful and have deadlines, and I've got some dickhead manager I don't even like trying to tell me that I need to get this done or I get sacked. Or honestly, it's a nightmare. Um, and that has all come from university, like studying that. That's the big reward at the end of it. A job that I don't even want to do. So you see what I mean, guys? I've someone who's really experienced it firsthand, and like I've been to uni. I can't say I've like been properly in the system, but I've worked a job, like a normal job for. I started my placement for 2 months, and honestly, it wasn't even hard work at all. But I hated it. It was just kind of the lifestyle, the that being stuck in like a kind of 9 to 5. I have to be somewhere at a certain time, and then you've got the weekend, and that's it. I'd hate it. Honestly, hated it. Just living for the weekend. I did it for 2 months, and I'll never do it again. And I honestly mean it. I don't care how tough it gets financially. I will never resort to a 9 to 5 job. And for some people, I highly doubt you watching this video, if you've got this far through, you're going to be okay with a 9 to 5 job. But there is people out there who that is fine for them. It makes them happy. And that's good, because we obviously need this for society to function. And I honestly, fair play to them. I have nothing against them. I'm not saying they need to be a businessman or whatever it may be. They need to do this, do that, whatever makes you happy. But it's really about fulfillment. I think that's my overall message when it comes to career. So yeah, I think, like I said, build your money up, fulfillment, focus on building those foundations to work towards your dream goal. And I think overall, your 20s is the most crucial stage of your life. The final kind of pillar of life that I want to reflect on as I turn 22 is my health. And this is the most important thing. So I'm not too sure why I've kind of left it to the end, but I have done anyway. So like you hear the old phrase "health is wealth," which is somewhat true, but it's not all about health. I think a lot of it's down to energy, because people are like healthy, but they're not healthy, are they? Really, like they don't have anything wrong. They're not in hospital. They don't have a disease or something, but they're not really healthy, are they? Like they've got a shit diet. They're overweight. They've got bad mental health, which people, when you say think about health, they don't think about the mental side of it. They're in a relationship they don't like. They're doing a job they don't like. They're not really healthy, are they? They've not got the energy to go and do stuff that they want to do. They can't go and start that business, go hit the gym, energy to leave a relationship and toxic things and start something new. There is no point on focusing on anything else until you have your health is right, whether it comes to physically and mentally. They've both got to be right before you'll be able to kind of penetrate the world, I think. For me, I've battled really significantly with my mental health for a lot of reasons that I've mentioned in previous videos in my childhood. And it's only really been like over the last year where that's kind of, I've seen a significant boost. And I would now honestly say I feel happy. It's probably only been like the last 3 months or something where I'd say I've got reached like a good base level of happiness. And I know you probably watching this video, you probably think you're happy, but you might not actually be, because I thought this too. And until you kind of take away, you remove all those distractions and stimulations from your life, because let's face it, you probably do have more than I do, because I really keep it minimalistic, and that's how it makes me happy. Once I've cut all out of that and realized like I don't need any of that, and it's just, I'm just happy to just work really, and like go to the gym and spend time with my friends. Like I know like that's happiness. It's not pleasure that I'm getting. I don't rely on like dopamine to make me happy, which you might not have the humility to admit that right now, but the chances are you somewhat do. And it's really, really important to kind of like going out there and achieving anything in life, to having your physical and mental health like spot on. And it's something, again, like building a career, you really want to work on. Like I've said, like building those foundations, like because once it's done, you've got it for the rest of your life. You've got that base level where you don't really need to like focus too much on it. Obviously, you still like maintain it, but you've got that base level. It's the same with the gym. It's the same with kind of business. It's the same with like talking to women, social skills. Once you've built that base level, you don't really need to like go work on it every single day. You've just got that kind of like base level where you can just like maintain it, like just practice it 2-3 times a week, and then like do the meditating, do the reading, spend time in nature, all of this type of stuff that I've spoke to you about in many of my videos that we all know has a lot of positive impacts on our life. From my personal experience, you literally never know what could happen to you, someone around you, as a consequence from not looking after your health mentally and physically. Things such as like drinking, drugs, lack of exercise, and lack of sleep, very common things these days that not are just neglected by many young people. Let's face it, like realistically, and we all want to be like alive for as long as possible. You're probably going to be alive till life expectancy is around 80-85 years old, and I think that's only going to increase over our lifetime. If you're a similar age to myself, it probably is going to be around 100 or so. So every single action you take today has an impact on your future self. And we know this instant delayed gratification that I've preached about a lot. But the message does need to spread like a lot deeper. Obviously, you watching this, I'm sure you'll be really good. You're delaying your gratification. You're thinking about your future self. So I'm not too worried about you watching this video, but I know there's a lot of people out there who aren't, and I just like know in the future they'll look back and wish they didn't do that. They just didn't excessively drink. They didn't have that party lifestyle. They didn't take those drugs. They did more exercise. They built that body up, and they got enough sleep, and now they're feeling healthy. They're mentally good. They look physically good. They feel great. They feel great. Honestly, you need that. And the health is the most important. You may as well forget about all of the other stuff I've spoke about, like career, building money, your finances, relationships. Like it doesn't really matter if you don't have your health there mentally and physically. you're not going to be able to go on and achieve anything. I think that's enough for today. As I reflect on turning 22 years old, if you've got to the end of this video, then I really appreciate you watching this, and I really hope you've taken a lot of insight out of it, and you can use it in your day-to-day life to improve yourself. And you can hopefully, by the time you reach 22, or even if you're a bit older, you can like achieve this a lot earlier than I have done. That's what I really want to do. That's what I feel like as as being a kind of mentor to yourself. That is kind of my job, to make sure you achieve it better than I did and not have to go through the same things that I did. So I really hope this has helped. Obviously, I'm still young, but as I've made clear, I feel like I've had many life lessons in my life that a lot of people can learn on, so they don't have to experience it later in life where most people do, and it's a lot harder to kind of deal with. So yeah, guys, I'm not sure when this will come out, but I'm just turning 22, and this is the lessons I have to offer for you. And I really hope they've been insightful for you guys. And yeah, take care, guys.